I know you're not a huge movie guy.
I'm lost.
Everything else is just kind of filler. Okay, so we're doing spoilers.
What is his story?
I don't know how to end this.
Deal with it.
Hello and welcome to Just Go With It, where the one co-host just woke up and he was awake until 12 and it is now 5 a.m. Please kill me. It is now 6. I forgot. Never mind.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, okay. So we both, by the way, I'm Ben, that's Jared. We both played Firewatch.
We did.
We did. This, I'll let you start there.
Okay, so this was, I started doing a thing with Game Pass where you can just look at all the games, and in the filters section you can press like choose a game for me, and this was one of the first ones it picked, and so I started to play through it, and I got halfway through and I was like, dang, this is kind of like an experience. I really don't know like how I'm feeling about this. And then I was like, I'm gonna ask Ben to play this too, so that way we can talk about it. Because there's a lot of things. I don't know. This game like makes me feel so many different things.
Yes, yes. See,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, I was spoiled a little bit because I had watched a playthrough way back when it first came out. But even still, I was like, I couldn't remember exactly what was going on, but I was just like, what? Like, it just was like, first, it's just kind of da-da-da-da-da, and then it starts getting, and then stuff starts happening. And you're like, dang, where is this going?
Yeah. And it's like, it's a very short game, but it feels like there's so much to do in it. Like, I love the exploration aspect of it. You know, like, you really have to, like...
much.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Well, okay, here's the thing. I didn't mean to explore. I just kept getting lost.
Okay, same. To be fair, same.
It took wait, am I going the right way? And then I'd be like halfway across the map, and I'd be like, I cannot get to where I'm supposed to be going this way. I don't know what to do now.
That game would have been an hour long if like they had like an actual like directive, waypoints and stuff.
Yeah, like a little mini map or something where you didn't have to keep pulling it up.
Oh, that stupid map! I'm like pulling it up, and I'm like, oh, it's like wiggling all over the place. I'm trying to look at it. It's wild.
Oh my god! So, I looked it up. I thought there might be multiple endings, but it turns out there isn't. There's like one alternate ending, but it's like a very like minimal thing, very secretive. But I'm curious, like, there is little choices. And one thing I was curious about your playthrough is, did you romance Delilah at all?
I got a little flirty with her, but not like... I don't know. We got a little flirty. But at the same time, we were never, like, came out and, like, said it. Like, like, Henry was just like... I wish you were here. Which, I mean, I felt for the man. His situation, like, you just understand it,
Yeah, which, if anyone doesn't know the story, and I guess we'll get into spoilers here, the, like, main plot of the game is a man named Henry falls in love and marries this woman named Julia, and in their late 30s, early 40s, she develops dementia, and then her family comes and takes her back to Australia to live with them because Henry really isn't fit to be caring for her. He's going out and getting drunk and trying to numb the pain in any way he can. But to kind of get away from everything, he takes a job as a I don't really know what the name would be. I got fire
lookout. I believe.
A lookout, yeah.
I think it's a lookout or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Basically, they are posted up in the woods, like deep in the woods, to watch out for wildfires.
Yes, and it takes place in Colorado, and it takes place over like an entire summer. And you meet the other lookout, whose name is Delilah. To her over the radio the entire time, and then a whole conspiracy happens, and it gets into a mystery and goes a ton of places. But I'm just curious of your like overall thoughts of the game. Like, would you recommend it? Would you, are you happy you played it, or would you just rather skipped it?
It's one of those things where it's like, especially again, I was spoiled a little bit, but if like you didn't know what was happening, you thought it was just a stupid little game. You get to the point where things start happening, you're like, oh, it then really starts pulling you in.
Mm-hmm.
Like so for such a simple game where you're basically just walking around, there really isn't much gameplay.
Yeah.
It just sucks you in the story because you're like, what is happening, and you're discovering stuff. It's wild.
Yeah. I absolutely loved it. I was really did you beat it in just one day? Is that what I gathered from your text?
Yeah, I blitzed it pretty hard.
Okay, okay. I don't blame you. If I had the time, I totally would have just sat down and did it in one sitting. But
Yeah,
I think I did it in like 3 nights. Like I did like probably like, an hour and a half, hour and a half, hour and a half,
yeah.
or however long it took. And I loved it. I think it was totally like it felt like a little bit like a Telltale game, but like
hmm
without the severity of the choices. Like you couldn't really make like decisions where like a character would die or anything like you could in like the Telltale games.
It was almost nice of how dramatic it was, but also not at the same time.
Yes.
Like it felt very real. Like if you play a
Yes.
Telltale game or other games, like if that was a real situation you were in, you probably wouldn't act that way. This felt like an
Yeah.
actual real reaction that somebody might actually have. And that's what I think made it so appealing.
Yeah. I completely agree. And one thing I was gonna add to after I asked you about romancing Delilah, I totally romanced her. Like I was asking her to wait for me at the
I
end, and
did
I
that
was
too.
asking her to like, okay, yeah, and I was asking for her to come back with me to
I did
Boulder.
that too.
Uh, okay, wow.
I don't, I guess we both were, I don't, yeah, I guess that's a romance. It's like a
Like
light
I
romance.
really shot my shot.
Yeah. The dude's lone. Again, it's like, oh, his story. So, he's lonely, but he is still
Yeah.
married. But his wife doesn't even know him. His in-laws don't like him. She's literally in a different country. I just feel for the
Yeah.
man.
And it's like you really got to ask like what would you do in that situation because it is like your wife wouldn't even recognize you anymore. She wouldn't know who you are and that
She's not even there
would
with
not
you anymore.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Um
a sad, sad thing. There really is no
yeah.
right answer in that situation, and again, that's what makes it so appealing. One of the many reasons why that game's so appealing, because it's just that sort of thought experiment. Like, is this okay?
Yeah. And it like I really enjoyed it. I even enjoyed like the gameplay of it. Like I said, just walking around like the woods and finding different little secrets and mysteries and unraveling the mystery as you go. I loved the entire experience. Like I said, it was a short game, but it was totally worth it. And especially it being on Game Pass, like I don't see why anyone
Yeah,
wouldn't just
yeah.
just check it out?
What was the moment that like hooked you? Because I can imagine
Um
early on it's just kind of, Well, like, what made you keep playing?
honestly, whenever the beginning kind of hooked me because I didn't know what sort of game this was. And I didn't really like research it or anything. I just
Mm-hmm.
downloaded it and I was like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, I'll check it out. And at the beginning, when it's just starting with the dialogue and the questions, I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, is this just like an experience to where you just make choices and it's like a text-based game? And then all of a sudden you're in the mountains and then you're chasing down these girls that are starting a fire and skinny dipping in the lake. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I don't know if you
Okay,
did,
I
but I
see what
picked
got you.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
girls
that's
gonna
what
dip
got me.
in the lake. Yeah, okay, no, just kidding.
But actually, when that happened and they like sassed me, I picked up their stereo and threw it in the lake. I don't know if you did that or not.
I didn't. I didn't do that, but I did pick
I
up the
did that,
stereo. And
yeah.
they screamed at me.
I picked it up and then threw it in the lake, and they were like, "There's no." But I don't know. There's like so many little things you could do it at, and I don't know. I love it. It hooked me, like I said, pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
What about you?
Uh, I mean, again, the intro bit. I mean, I instantly saw a penis. Was not expecting to see any sort of nudity in this game. I no idea. It was just there and then never came back. I was just like, whoa, what the? Oh.
Are you talking about the journal?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
She drew a picture of Henry, and then it was him like dancing, and I didn't know he was naked. Okay, I just wasn't expecting that. That just like, okay then.
Yeah.
But no, the part that like really got me, I think, was the moment that you found the tent that was all tore up.
Oh yeah.
Because you're like, wait, I didn't do this. There's a note.
Mm-hmm.
The girls think I did this. What is happening? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the part and then there was kind of another, not really a hook, more of like just a more impactful moment is when you get hit in the head.
Yes. God, that I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think it was? Do you wish it was more the story? Like, do you wish it got crazy, or do you think you liked it kind of the level it was?
I gotta admit, I think I kind of liked the level it was because I really did think it was just going crazy, and that's what games usually do. You know, they do just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it ends with this huge thing. Whereas this, I kind of liked that they kept thinking it was something huge, but then it died back, and it was just kind of like this very contained and grounded story where it was like, oh, usually every game would get like crazy and out of reality, but this is like, oh, I can understand the paranoia, but then this makes way more sense that this would be the situation. And I know I know I'm not coming out and saying like what it was. I don't really know if I want to say what it was. I kind of want to keep that.
Honestly, I agree. We gave a little bit of spoilers, but let's leave the actual ending or the actual thing. I think we should leave that open to other people to discover. Because I think it's worth it. I think it's worth keeping that open. But let's just say, I don't like, again, like you said, it didn't turn out super crazy. It turned out mundane's not the right word. It's still pretty crazy. But again, the game was super grounded, super real in that sense. And that was the hook. That's kind of what made you keep playing. For some reason, it was very compelling in that way. The fact that this situation, I mean, if it is a little out there, if you think about it, the situation, but even the characters are like, this is out there, what is happening? So, I don't know.
Exactly.
Like, their reactions, the story, everything was just like, this is wild. It feels like something that you would hear on like a conspiracy / wild stories, true crime podcast,
Yeah. And you're like, this could be real, but it sounds kind of out there too. Like that, that'd be really crazy if that was real,
Yeah. So, are we going to review?
I'm ready to rate it.
Yeah, okay. Yep. I have a pretty solid rating, I think. So, you want me to go or you go?
You go.
So, I'm going to rate it a 8. There are a couple things. Like, again, it was a little slow. The navigation was a bit rough. And again, most of the game was you just getting lost and running around, not actual gameplay or anything. But the story was like, the story is like 7 points out of that 8 points. Just putting it out there. The story is doing a lot of heavy lifting, which they tend to do in these kind of games. If the gameplay was just a little bit better, it would be like a 9 or maybe even a 10. But I'd give it a solid 8.
Yeah, and actually, I'm right there with you. That's what I was thinking. I feel like an 8 is a perfect rating for this game because, like you said, a ton of the points is the story. But I also did really like the setting, and I liked the parts of the gameplay. I know you said it is kind of rough, and it is definitely, like you said, like we both said with the map and stuff. But just the exploration aspect, I really enjoyed as well. So yeah, I'm with you. 8 out of 10.
Would you like to see either a sequel or other games similar to this, maybe, but in different settings?
I would like to see like a game similar to this, maybe made by the same creators, but a different setting with different characters. I really feel like these characters' stories kind of we needed to see, and I feel like it would get less realistic if there was a sequel and another crazy thing happened, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind like a nod back to the previous characters though. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
different setting,
I can.
maybe like a little news article or something that shows us about these characters, talks about their experience or whatever.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
agree.
I would love to see another game similar to this. Maybe make it a whole series of these like out there stories that happen to people. Um, I don't know. I would love to see something else just like it. When did this game come out? I think it came out a while ago.
I think it came out in 2016 on the PC, and I believe it came out in
Yeah,
2019 on
it's
Xbox and stuff.
it's definitely older. So
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna be making anything else like it. But here's hoping.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, they just made an Alan Wake sequel, and that
Fair
first game
enough.
came out in like 2010.
Fair
So,
enough.
yeah.
Alrighty. This has been Just Go With It. And I am ready to kill myself because I
Oh
am
my God.
working on like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And I just played that game and it was hurtful.
Well, let's wrap this up and let's play some Baldur's Gate.
Yep. Baldur's Gate, yeah! We're playing Baldur's Gate, guys. I'm excited.